most gurus sadly have made money by being a guru, not by actually doing the business. Agency's culture is not what you said. Agency's culture is sadly what the client said. Like a lot of really good people liked me because मैं बैठा रहता था. I'm just calm. I was just very hungry for work.
Is freelancing actually better than doing a job?
Freelancing is a very risky profession. What people don't realize is that उनको work life balance भी चाहिए, उनको सबसे अच्छा काम भी चाहिए, उनको सबसे ज़्यादा पैसे भी चाहिए.
Is it expensive to start production house?
We started with no investment. Like there is absolutely zero capital that was put into. Every problem can be solved, and you have to have that mentality. So.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Alina Dissects. Today's guest is very special because I've been following their journey for a while and I love the growth that I've seen. I have with me today Ayush Wadhwa. He's the founder of Owl Media, and I love the fact that you started out as just editing videos and putting up content on YouTube, and you've come such a long way. But I'm going to have you speak about your journey and tell us what you do. So welcome to Alina Dissects. I'm so excited to have you today.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. An amazing space and just very excited for what's to come ahead.
Yes, I have a lot of interesting questions. And even though you do a lot of content online, I had questions to ask you that you haven't probably answered before. So you talk about freelancing a lot and you do a lot of workshops also with people.
Yeah.
Teach them about freelancing and all. But to the layman, the first thing that comes into their mind is that is freelancing actually better than doing a job?
Yeah, there's no straight answer to this, but it depends upon, different people. Like for me, I think freelancing was the best thing that ever happened to me. So many people, I think freelancing is the best option. In so many professions, just jobs just don't make sense.
Okay.
But the very simple way to look at it is it's a very risk-reward equation, right? Freelancing is a very risky profession. Sometimes you live month over month, right? Like you're just making ends meet, but sometimes you make a lot of money. And to live that life where you have those ups and downs, you need to be somebody who can take a lot of risk, right? And what I keep telling people is just look at your circumstances. Everybody has very different circumstances in life. For example, if back in the day I did not have the support from my family that I did, I don't think I would have been able to start freelancing, right? Because I did not have the responsibility. I have to send a check back home. I have a kid. I have a family to take care of. No, right? Like for me, it was just me as a person who wanted to do some good work. So if today I don't make a lot of money, it's fine. I can live off of like a smaller amount. So I think if you can take the risk, if you can go out there, and if let's say a family does not rely on you, I think freelancing is extremely rewarding. And the minute you take more risk in life, rewards follow, right? So the chances of you making more money in a freelance career are also a lot more. So I think you just have to look at whether you can take the risk or not. If you cannot, jobs are equally fulfilling. In fact, I was reading stats, and people, in fact, when averaged out, make more money in jobs than they do freelancing.
Okay, in the long run.
In the long run, right? But at the same time, I would still choose freelancing. It's fulfilling. You get to choose a lot of your own things. I can curate my life according to how I like it.
Right.
So if you're somebody who's fond of that, who wants to take the risk, go for it. But otherwise, jobs are equally fulfilling. Just find the right one.
Right. No, interesting. But also, do you think that comes from an entrepreneurial, like a mindset like that? Because then your jobs are more stable. And like you said, there's a lot of risk involved. And that's something that a mindset of an entrepreneur comes in, I feel like. So do you think if somebody wants to become an entrepreneur and run a business, then they should probably then start with doing freelance?
100%. Matlab, entrepreneurship to hai risk taking, right? Matlab, even the biggest of the entrepreneurs, they are taking risks because their scale of risk is much bigger. They may be taking risk in crores and hundreds of crores. हम शायद risk वो thousands or lakhs में ले रहे हैं. But risk तो, so if you want to be an entrepreneur, then freelancing, I call freelancing running a one-person startup, right? Like you're a single person doing everything. It's entrepreneurship at the end of the day. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, go for it. The thing is, I think social media is not great that way because social media makes you think everyone wants to become an entrepreneur. सबको entrepreneurship करनी है. But actually when you talk to people, not everyone wants to do it.
Right.
So many people, I know so many very, very fulfilled people in my team who are very happy in their jobs, do not want to do freelancing. They do not want to start a company. They're making good money. They're living a good life. They like logging off at a certain time and not thinking about anything.
I've seen the exact same thing, and I think it's what you want to do is the right thing. Not if everybody's talking about having a startup, it might not be ideal for everybody. Like you said, some people like to just have a very good work-life balance, which honestly, as an entrepreneur, is like the most difficult thing to like get. But tell me that if you are a freelancer, again, I think the biggest struggle is how do you kind of keep a consistent amount of money and value keep coming in and going, because like you said, it's very project basis, it's something that comes and goes. So how do you try to maximize the stability?
I think two things. Most freelancers and in fact agencies also, they focus too much on client acquisition, right? So I've gotten a project. The very next thought is, how do I get the next one? How do I get the next one, right?
Okay.
Very few agencies and freelancers actually focus on, okay, I've gotten a project. Let me just take a back step. Can I dive deeper into the same client? Am I delivering the best service? Can I look at retaining them further? Can I upsell them something? Right? This is the first mistake. People don't focus too much on delivery. They focus too much on client acquisition. I'll give you a small challenge. Go to YouTube, search freelancing. 9 on 10 videos that you will find will be client acquisition, how to sell, how to charge higher, how to do this to yourself, blah, blah. Everyone continues to talk about what happens before you get a client. The actual work starts after you get a client. So one of the things, if you truly want a very long freelance and agency career, and this is something which again I learned from other people and my experience, just focus on client retention. Client acquisition is a lot more expensive and time consuming than client retention. So once you've gotten a client, just make sure you're delivering the best experience.
Right.
Don't focus too much on client acquisition. Understand what is servicing. How do you build a relationship with the client? So many freelancers I know, वो offline तो मिलना ही छोड़ दिया लोगों ने. मतलब I believe so much in meeting people, building a relationship with them. पुराने ज़माने में लोग धंधा करते थे 10-10 साल एक ही इंसान के साथ बिजनेस कर रहे हैं. यहाँ पे तो 6 महीने में एजेंसी बदल जाती है, right? So that is the number one thing, right? If you want to build a career where you have, sort of more business coming in from the same client, focus on client retention. Because as you said, right, project over project, if every month you're pitching, winning, and then doing the work, it's a long process.
Yeah.
But once you have pitched to a client, trust ban gaya. मान लो you are a client, I've pitched to you. Next time you won't ask me to pitch, right? You'll be like, yeah, there's a brief, please work on it. This is the budget, let's work it out, right? So the process of locking a deal becomes so much more faster. So more of your time is going in doing the work. And the virtuous cycle is that the better is your work, the more the market recognizes you, the more referrals you get, the more work you get. Which brings you to the second point, right? Focus on client acquisition methods which are beyond cold emails, beyond your selling, right? Like a lot of I'll give you a thing that we also teach in our cohort, which is referral based marketing, but in a very interesting way, right? Like a writer needs a designer. A designer also needs a writer.
Yes.
Most freelancers compete with each other, not even realizing that a writer does not need to compete with a social media manager, does not need to compete with a designer to an animator. So there are a lot of partnerships that can be formed which people don't form in the freelance ecosystem, right? For example, if both of us are running different businesses, I have access to marketing clients, you have access to marketing clients. Why can't we do a partnership together? So another way to just crack business and not like be in the rut of how many emails I've sent, how many LinkedIn messages I've written, how many people that I've done cold calls to. Try to do sort of more behind the scenes B2B partnerships. Can you talk to freelancers around you? Can you tap into their client network and give them a percentage of your income, right? People are so sometimes iffy about, no, I don't want to give like even 5%. Are 5% of something is very little, right? Like you're at least making the rest 95%. So this is another method to just beyond your usual sources of getting revenue, how you can sort of extend revenue, make more money and just expand your client network. But yeah, this is what I would focus on.
I think it's a great perspective that people don't usually get because they assume that freelancers have to work by themselves because they're doing it alone. I think it's a great perspective that you can, have other people to work in synchronization with. And I think this industry especially works on collaboration. So I think everybody should be collaborating with each other to get like maximum benefits. But again, I do have a question, is that if your skill set as a freelancer is one particular thing, for example, you're a content writer, then should the content writer also develop other skills as a freelancer and, kind of be like, okay, I'm going to do social media also, or maybe I'm going to do like graphic designing. So because they're individually working, should they give all of the services to a client or should they stick to one niche?
I think you should stick to one niche in the beginning.
Okay.
At least till a point, and service market fit, how I define is that the minute you're at a stage where you're not hustling to get basic revenue and cover your basic expenses, that means you're not there yet. You know, the minute you're like, okay, I sell a LinkedIn writing package for 10,000 rupees. And now I'm making 50,000 rupees by selling 5 packages very, very comfortably. Now you have two options, either to increase your prices, right? Or increase your number of clients, but that becomes difficult as a freelancer because your time is limited. Or you add more services, right? So multiple ways to go about it. The problem is that I feel people dilute themselves beyond a point. Matlab, the minute you start selling too many things, right? Like your positioning gets diluted. Then the client comes on a call. Earlier you're only selling writing, so you're focused. The yes or no is also quick. The client would say a yes or no very quickly, but now you're like, oh, by the way, I also do this, I also do that, I also do this. So it's a very nuanced way of selling. It takes time, right? Like then you are suddenly now you're competing with an agency. You were a freelancer, now an agency was doing everything. So it gets very confusing. I am not a big believer of in the beginning selling too many things. You get to a point where you're making good money. If amongst the three options, I would choose increasing my rates, right? Today the market like is really demanding specialists because there are too many धंधा folks who have come in the agency ecosystem. उन्होंने एक YouTube video देखा है कि agency business model में फटाफट से पैसे कमाते हैं. मैं आऊँगा, ये client पकड़ूंगा, यहाँ से काम करूँगा और जोड़ दूँगा उनको और बीच में मेरा 20% commission. So this model, like so many people are doing now, and there's great people at sales, but the good people who are actually doing the work are very few.
Right.
Like today I'm willing to pay on 3-4 roles such high prices to freelancers because है ही नहीं अच्छे लोग. So my recommendation is go deep, specialize, and don't add too many services, especially in the first couple of years.
But Ayush, that's something that I've picked on in your journey, is that when somebody starts an agency, they kind of be like, okay, I'm going to give all the services. And when I speak to agency founders one-on-one, I was like, that would work in our industry like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, because there were not too many digital marketing agencies. Now there are so many that the ones that are working like yours and like a lot of others that I know is because you stuck to one niche, picked it up, and you said, okay, I'm going to be an expert at this and be known for that. And I think for you, that was maybe like production that you got into. Tell us about how you started that.
Yeah, absolutely right. So my journey has been in video. So even though I was a creator, so technically I knew social media. I'd worked with social media clients. I'd worked in influencer marketing. I did not, when Owl was started, I did not start with any of these. But I wasn't this wise. I had an agency before this, which I don't speak about much, right? Like it's called Motion Trooper, or rather was called Motion Trooper in 2019. You know what we did? When we were making the pitch deck, I literally looked at all the other agencies. So, ये Shebang ये कर रहा है, Foxy ये कर रहा है, White Rivers ये कर रहा है, all these, and they had like a bunch of these services on their website and whatnot. मैंने ऐसा cursor लिया, copy,
drop down,
paste और that's it. मुझे पता ही नहीं था उसमें कुछ ऐसी सर्विसेज थी जो मैंने कभी करी नहीं थी. मैंने कहा हाँ कर लेंगे. अब लाइक ये कर रहे हो तो मतलब हम भी कर ही लेंगे, राइट? बिकॉज बाय दैट टाइम आई हैड वर्कड इन एजेंसीज और मुझे समझ आ गया था कि एजेंसीज कैसे काम करवाती हैं. इट डिडंट वर्क आउट.
Okay.
Like 6-7 months we couldn't find a client. Then I narrowed down to like one niche. I'm like, okay, I was doing travel before. I have a large portfolio of travel. Let me just sell that. In just a couple of months, we got clients.
Okay.
Right. So I saw the immediate benefit of like sort of narrowing things down. The thing is, the minute you narrow your services down, you're also able to narrow your clients down. Okay, earlier, if you're selling everything, then technically so many people can be
Right.
your clients, right? But if I'm only selling one specific thing, I only do podcast shoots. So I'm now reaching out to potentially only 500 people compared to, I don't know, 5,000, whatever. Like, I'm just taking
But
like,
you don't have a lot of competition.
correct. Plus, now when you go to a client, you can always like be very confident. This thing I do really well. So your chances of winning that deal over other people also increase. But anyway, so when Owl was started, I'm like, okay, in the startup ecosystem, people will need a lot of videos, right? Like videos were booming, Instagram Reels are just around the corner. So yeah, videos became our thing, and we weren't just a production house because I realized companies don't work with production houses. Companies work with content studios,
Okay.
and internationally, a lot of content studio models were sort of emerging, right? Which is you do things end to end, not media buying or research, but scripting, concept, and the production. So I realized that body companies तो हमें contract देंगी नहीं because I can't form a campaign. But a small company just needs a video. They quickly need a video. So that's how we started targeting a bunch of startups and started working. And the minute we hit a certain number of business, I remember like our first sort of maybe 7 or 8 crores a year, and then like, okay, now is the time to sort of expand out. So then we added social media, then we added influencer marketing.
Okay.
So then we added like, campaigns, and now we're becoming more full service in nature than we were before. With video still being the core, it's still a large driver of our, but it's changing fast. Yeah.
Is it expensive to start a production house and a studio to service these kind of clients to begin with?
No, so when I say a content studio, it doesn't mean an actual studio.
Okay.
I did no investments. Right?
Okay.
In fact, in a production, you can start a production company with no investment.
Right.
Of course, I'm assuming the person has basics like internet, laptop, all of that, right? But we started with no investment. Like there is absolutely zero capital that was put into. I think I had about 40-ish thousand. I'm forgetting the exact amount as my savings from my freelance career. Rest I had just burned. I used to spend a lot of money.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it. You don't need any money.
And at what point did you realize, okay, freelancing I'm done with and now I need to probably start a business?
Yeah, I did a 4 to 5 lakh month, and
Okay.
I'm like, oh wow, this is good. This is what agencies make. When I got to know, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I should now scale up. It was naive of me. I think again, it wasn't a strategic move. I feel I took a decision too quick because I didn't see a 4 to 5 lakh month for a very long time then.
Oh, right. Oh, you assume that in business it'll convert
Yeah,
immediately.
so the minute I hit like one, I'm like, oh wow, it's amazing, right? And I realized as a freelancer, I learned how to make money.
Right.
But as an agency, selling is very different. I'll give you an example. As a freelancer, most of my business came from agencies.
Oh,
The
they
minute-
were hiring you to for their
Correct.
services.
Exactly.
Oh,
The minute I started an agency, none of them hired me. They're like, no, now you are a competitor.
right.
So most of my business, I mean, I was still getting some business but most of my larger brands, because otherwise, how would I have gotten access to a large brand like 7 years ago? I can only get access to a large brand when I'm working through somebody. And of course, that pays you a little less. But if you're good at your job, you also win the job faster. Yeah, so I was so, I've been an idiot all my life. I feel I'm like, how did I not see this? That if I call myself an agency, they'll look at me as a competitor. The biggest problem in my life was, or rather, I think sometimes still is I get very overconfident. So I come from like a business family. So I assumed कि ये तो मेरे खून में ही होगा.
I've seen a lot of guys have this thing.
ये तो मैं लेके ही आया अपने साथ. मतलब business मुझे, I was so terrible at business. In fact, still sometimes I get these such basic realization. I'm like, why did I not think of this?
Right.
Why did we not do this?
No, but business is made up of like mistakes. Like if you didn't do them, you wouldn't know any better. And anybody starting out, whether you have an MBA or whether you're doing it by yourself, you will make so many mistakes when doing business. And then you look at it and you'll be like, oh, I should have just done something better. For example, in my case, like I was telling you, right? I was running a content platform and I had like this community and all of that. I took so much time to even realize, oh, this is a publishing business. Oh, I need to give out news. Oh, I need to do fact checking better because so many people are listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If I knew that from the beginning, it would have been a different trajectory only.
Correct. No, that's so true. But I think eventually it humbles you down. It has, like, if you're an entrepreneur, like the business will make sure that it will bring
Yes.
you back to the ground, right? Otherwise it won't work, especially in an
Yeah.
agency business.
Very
Like you have to, when you're catering to a client, right? और हमारे तो एक तो इंडिया में वो अतिथि देवो भव वाला भी एक तो इतना सीन है जो, तो जैसे ही आपको कोई पैसे दे देगा तो मतलब आपकी जिंदगी होगी उनकी.
Right.
तो यू नो बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं फ्रीलांसिंग इज लाइक यू हैव लाइक 10 20 30 बॉसेस. तो वही है, मतलब आई वेक अप एंड ऑल माय बॉसेस हैव मैसेज मी कि ओके आयुष 50 चीज़ें नहीं हुई है. सो इट हम्बल्स यू, स्पेशली एजेंसी बिजनेस will humble you down.
How do you tackle when there are so many clients being like, oh, I'm paying you money, so then this is the delivery that you have to do? Because I know as an agency founder, we face this.
No, then you do it. I mean, what option do you have? You have committed to them, right? I
Right.
think you need a very strong execution and just work ethic if you're running an agency. You know, like for example, in rather any business, but particularly in an agency, because every single day you have to show up with the same energy because हर दिन कोई और client का कुछ तो important होता है, right?
Right.
Today, like right after this, I have a really important pitch with a client. Yesterday it was some other client. So शायद उस client के लिए वो हफ्ते में आज का एक दिन वो star दिन होगा कि okay today we are. But for us it's like every single day. So as a founder of an agency, I think it's so easy to get stretched. And you know, so you can get stretched so thin very very fast. It's important to have something that keeps your mental sanity sort of together, but you deliver. You need like very strong work ethic. I think if you're on a scale in agency, like very very inspirational folks in Bombay who have done it like really well, but it's a difficult business. Easy to start, hardest to scale.
And looks very fancy from the outside, but it's
Looks
very
so fancy.
looks like, oh, you can quickly like get clients, you can make so much money, but there's so many points in an agency. I feel like when you're doing it, you realize that, oh, like for example, cash flows, that's a big problem. And I wanted to ask you, because you do production and I know that is project based usually, right? So you're making a lot of money at one period of time and then maybe not making as much, and but you still have expenses. So how do you manage that?
Dude, it's extremely hard. I think the only way to manage that is, so I'll tell you what happens. The minute a lot of money hits your account, you're like, oh, I'm rich.
Yes.
And then you have the urge to take out that money from the business. But the thing is, you are not rich. The
Right.
business is. So the very first learning is that what the business, especially as a solo founder, my first learning was about, I think a year and a half into the business, that this is not my profit. This is business's profit. I will get paid a salary, that too towards the very end, because you know you eat the last.
Yes.
That's the so the first learning has been, and by the way, it's always hard. Like every month on month it gets hard, but still the first learning is to look at business profits and your profits as separately. Take some money home, but be very disciplined with what money you take home. Do not overspend, especially when you know that business can be wobbly. Second, over some time, we've built a small corpus for our business. And this corpus is very helpful because the minute you crack a big deal, you can't service this deal because you don't have the money to pay for the advances. And this problem gets bigger and bigger every year because every year you'd want to crack bigger deals, but the corpus is not that big enough. But you know, the idea is to just save as much as you can for your business. That will allow you to just pitch for a bigger project. So many times bigger agencies get bigger projects just because they have the money
Resources
and the
also.
resources capability. They may be much more average than you are, but they still win the business.
You think that is the reason you recently did a reel where you spoke about how, you know, because of the age of an agency and an agency founder, they don't actually give you the big deals because they give it to bigger agencies?
Yeah, I think some clients are dinosaurs.
Okay.
Gone are the times that you would look at, 20 years into the industry. I love this. Is it 20 years of experience or is it 1 year of experience 20 times? So many so-called experienced folks, they don't know digital the way so many younger folks do.
Right.
I'm telling you that so many large agencies do very average campaigns when it comes to digital, right? But still they're proud of the lineage, the years of experience, so on and so forth. At Owl, we've cracked large clients, right? Like if you look at the MG Motors, Air India, Estee Lauder, there's no bigger than this. But still other similar bigger brands, still they'll give us the business, but they'll question, young team.
Yes.
So it sometimes gets to my head. And now, of course, we have much senior folks, by the way, now, right? 10, 15 years into the industry, our entire leadership team, we just set up a leadership team like last year. Even then now they're like, but the agency is younger. So there are these doubts sometimes, and I'm not a fan of this. People usually don't speak this out loud. But I think this dinosaur mentality needs to change.
I think it is also. And I've actually openly spoken about this on my LinkedIn, where I said that there was this hospitality client who said to me that, you guys are a bunch of kids. And I was like, but we're delivering good results to you that bigger agencies are not able to. And Ayush, because I sit with a lot of senior folks, as in like I was telling you, a lot of them are my friends and mentors, I realize there's a stark difference between them and between the younger founders like you, is they are very usually stuck on the things that they want to do and how they want to do. And the younger folks are more transitional. They can take up new things and they can change the way that they do things, which is why it's actually better to go with somebody that's younger.
Correct, that's true. More energy as well, right?
Right.
Like there is more hunger to do better. शायद हमारे साथ भी 10 साल बाद हम भी हमारे बारे में शायद लोग अब ये बात कर रहे होंगे 10 साल बाद in a podcast in some futuristic, I don't know, place कि Leena is now a dinosaur and so is Ayush. But
the space is such, it changes so fast that you have to adapt to it no matter how old you are.
Correct.
Otherwise, you'll die out.
Social media changes every 3-4 months.
Yeah.
The person who was growing on social 3 months ago suddenly is now figuring why am I not getting views and whatnot. So you need somebody very proactive. You need a younger team. You can have the thing is people and I'm noticing this in myself as well, which is while the work should be done by younger people, if you are, let's say, a 35-40-year-old in a large enterprise, in a CMO, VP marketing like position, you also find some days you can't relate to a kid.
Right.
So as an agency, it's important to have a senior client servicing person though. Somebody who can just talk to them, understand their requirements. Because while I understand that larger agencies, this is what they do well. Their client servicing team is very mature.
Strong, yeah.
They know how to talk to that person. That bit I agree with. This team should be experienced. This team should be a little, not age old, but experience old.
Experience, yeah.
Right? Like, unko pata
More
hona chahiye.
mature.
More mature. If, for example, one of my star client servicing person is a 22-year-old.
Okay.
I've told her, never tell your age. Just don't.
If many people do that.
And, people consider her like really, really mature. So, again, not age old, but experience old. But everybody else can be very young,
Right.
It doesn't matter. Like, age is actually no bar today in the work that we're doing.
Right. I think another thing that stands out is that you got a lot of bigger clients very early on. Was there a strategy? Was there connections? Or how did you have that? And tell us about your clients also.
A bit of both.
Okay.
When I started my freelance career, मैं सबके साथ काम कर रहा था. मैं एक वो boutique के साथ भी कर रहा था. I went on tours with random musicians also. I was doing local travel agencies and their videos. So anything and everything, wherever I can make money, right? So 1,000 रुपए की वीडियो, 5,000 की वीडियो, 10,000 की वीडियो, 20,000 की वीडियो, मतलब every scale, but smaller pieces of work, right? I realized, this is not working out.
Okay.
मतलब इससे मैं एक point के बाद scale नहीं कर पाऊंगा. And something like very lucky happened. So I was trying to crack a lot of big brands during that time, and this guy Ronak was working in Bombay, called me, and he saw my portfolio and he was like, "I love your work. Why don't you come?" And then I realized, through agencies you can work with bigger brands. Again, an obvious realization that I just had very late. So I'm like, okay, so through agencies I made lesser money than I would have, but that allowed me and gave me the exposure to working with like really really big brands. And Mena, I've always um, if I commit to somebody, then I commit like hardcore. If I've committed to an agency, then I'm like, okay, anything and everything you need, I will just get it done. 14 hours of work, that's okay. So people, just early on, like a lot of really good people liked me because मैं better रहता था. I was calm. I was just very hungry for work. So they gave me better and better work. What people don't realize is that उनको work life balance भी चाहिए, उनको सबसे अच्छा काम भी चाहिए, उनको सबसे ज़्यादा पैसे भी चाहिए. So I realized, okay, I need to sacrifice something, and for me, I'm like, I can sacrifice time. I'm okay letting go of a bunch of things at that stage of my career, and so people like that. They were like, "Huh, this guy is like, charge भी नहीं करता इतना," and I consciously never charged too much in the beginning. I'm like, आएगा time, like I was just patient. कि there will come a point, because I used to read a lot about other entrepreneurs, and most of their journeys used to be, and then there would be some inflection point, and they would just grow. So I'm like, okay, I need to trust the process. There would be some inflection point. I don't know when will it come, but I can't control the output. I can control the input metric, right? And the input metric is me putting in a lot of hours, building relationships, doing extremely good work, which means I need to learn a lot. So that's how I would think, right? So I was just copying what other like great people in the world had done, in the hopes to do better. And yeah, finally I cracked a bunch of these big brands through agencies, and they would let me manage things end to end. And took a couple of years, built my portfolio. Again, आजकल तो 2 साल भी, like sometimes I feel people think it's a lot, but it's not. Like 2 years I think were nothing. Built out the portfolio, and like, okay, then now I have trust of a big brand. I know what a big brand wants. Right. I know what a bigger brand needs. I know how to set expectations with them. Plus, now I had the proof. See, I can deliver to a big. So then I went to, some brands directly, and I was able to crack them. So by this time, I was in the industry for long. I'd built a portfolio. So now it's more strategic plus connections plus my portfolio supported me to win that brand.
Right.
Because आज मैं आपको मिलवा दूँ रतन टाटा से, आप क्या बेचोगे? मतलब you connect with the, लोग कहते हैं networking करके. क्या करोगे networking करके when you don't
have the work to back it up?
Correct. So you need to have the work to back it up. You need to have an offer like what am I selling? Like, unless you don't want to sell, that's okay. But if you want to sell, then so yeah, that's how we did it. And now we were just very cautious. We were like, okay, day zero से बड़े brand पे जाएंगे, छोटे पे नहीं जाएंगे.
Okay.
I mean, there are two strategies to grow. Both are okay, right? Which is you go धीरे धीरे करके. But I'd done that, right? I'd already done the smaller work. So we start with bigger brands.
Right. And you create a lot of content online and on Instagram. Was that again a strategy of yours, and did that help you getting a lot of recognition and clients?
To answer the second part of the question, yes. But it wasn't a strategy.
Okay.
I love creating content, right? It's been 13, 14 years of just me speaking in front of the camera. This is a part of the job which I don't consider work. Like, I told my team the first half I'm taking an off. This is an off. Like, this is not work for me. I really like doing this. On weekends when I record videos for my channel, it's not work for me.
Okay.
Is it helping my work? Yes. But I don't consider it work. Like, it gives me a lot of joy. So in fact, I think if I stop creating content, I would lose my sanity. Like,
Okay.
For people, it's the other way around. They stop creating content so that
they can focus on.
हाँ, मुझे बहुत पसंद है मतलब, क्योंकि मैंने किसी के peer pressure में start नहीं करा, मैंने FOMO में start नहीं करा. आजकल तो creators FOMO में शुरू कर रहे हैं. मैंने इसलिए start नहीं करा क्योंकि some creator bought a Lamborghini and made a vlog about it. मैंने शुरू करा था क्योंकि उसको कुछ था नहीं करने को. I had a webcam, I had a mic, and I saw so many other people are doing it, and I'm like, why can't I do it? Right? So it started with me being this very young 7th, 8th grader kid who did not know much about the world. So the love is very deep. That's why I like to create content.
But do you think somebody who's starting out now, it's important for them to then have their personal brand?
Yeah, very.
It is?
Very. what differentiates you from another company? Let's take the example of sleep. Like I've been researching a lot about sleep.
Okay.
Sleep company, Wakefit, Sleepy Cat, Kurlon, all of them large companies. सब raise कर लेंगे पैसा. क्या डिफरेंस है मतलब यू नो दिस वेरी लिटिल डिफरेंट. चलो एक टेक्नोलॉजी किसी ने नहीं बनाई, आई एम वेरी श्योर कुछ और नाम दे के somebody else would copy it, then become so products eventually become very commoditized, right? Like same for agencies also. Sadly, even though agency is not a commodity business, it feels commoditized. क्या ये भी तो वीडियो बना रहे हैं, ये भी वीडियो बना रहे हैं. So what is differentiating you from the other person? I feel one of the few things that differentiates you is the person or the people, in case you have co-founders, you know, because that's one thing that mostly will not change about the company, hopefully.
Yeah.
You know? So that one thing will not change about the company, and you're truly unique as a person, right? Like, you know, I am very unique. She is very unique. You are very unique. He is super unique. Like I can't take that away from you.
Right.
अब कुछ भी कर लूँ मैं वो कॉपी तो नहीं कर सकता ना. मैं शायद सोशल मीडिया डाइसेक्ट का कॉपी बना दूंगा, पर अलीना का कॉपी नहीं बना सकता मैं. तो अगर मैं कॉपी नहीं बना सकता तो वाई आर वी नॉट ओनिंग दैट यूएसपी? इसी को तो बोलते हैं ना यूनिक सेलिंग प्रोपोजिशन.
Right.
So especially as a smaller company, तो 100% you need to create content. If you're not, it's the biggest mistake that you're making today, and you will regret it 5 years later.
Right.
Why did I not create content? अब कर लेना चाहिए था तब. You know, so I think it's an absolute must, because it's that one unique thing that you have that other people do not.
You know, I did the same thing when I saw publishing houses and they were doing reviews and all. Everybody was very on the back end. I said, what I'm going to do differently, because I'm giving the same news, I'm giving the same campaigns, breakdown, everything. But I think what will make it stand out is maybe if I do it personally. Because have you ever seen a publisher come out and be like reviewing a campaign on their own? I said, nobody's done that. Maybe it'll like work out because it's me and that nobody else can like do. So that's how even I kind of, like I said, I'm going to merge a publishing house with a personal brand. Like it was unique. I feel
Correct.
It was stood out. Because at that time, it was like brands were one-way conversations. And then I went and I was like, oh, you have a campaign question? I will answer it in the comments. I will come live and I will talk to you. And that got hooked. The community was hooked because of that.
100%.
And tell me, Ayush, that what are some of your favorite campaigns and brands that you have worked with? Since you worked with so many now.
you can't tell who's your favorite child. you know घर पे फसाद हो जाता है अगर तुम ये करते हो तो.
Maybe some campaign you really enjoyed working on.
I can tell you a couple which just okay, so we were shooting this IPL film about 2 years ago. It was our more actually, maybe 3 years ago. I flew to Bombay. This was a campaign which we wrote, conceptualized, pre-produced in like 5-6 days. So it was just like very rushed.
Okay.
But we were very happy with the script. We were all very nervous about the shoot. And just before the shoot, I think now blurry memories, but very late at night, 1-2 a.m., I got a call, it's raining.
Oh.
The shoot can't happen.
Okay.
And we are a small company. First big shoot.
Okay.
We cannot afford the shoot to, you know, and I've taken money from the client. I went through the contract. The contract does not have a weather clause, which means that if we lose money, I lose money.
Okay.
So now there's a lot of like stress. And first big campaign, it's IPL, the script is amazing, everyone's excited. But on the other hand, I'm losing money, just a lot of pressure. And that's when I learned to just trust the process. I'm like, okay, you know, just take a deep breath. So I panicked for the first 60 minutes. After that, I called up my very, very dear friend now, Jason, who has produced like so many things for Raul. I call him like, okay, what is the solution? He's like, okay, Ayush, this is what we can do. We can get rain covers, but you know, it won't be able to cover the entire thing. Okay, what is the other solution? He's like, what if we make it rain throughout, you know? So basically the idea is Bombay rains are unpredictable, right? And in 8 hours of shoot, it can rain the first hour, then it may not, then it will, then it may not. It's like shooting can happen. But the problem is that first shot having rain, second shot not having rain is a problem, right?
Right.
Because how can it be like कि ad में आधी जगह बारिश हो रही है, आधी जगह नहीं हो रही? It looks like so odd. So ये लोग एक काम करते हैं, हम ही रेन मशीन ले आते हैं. जब बारिश की होगी तो हम बारिश करवा देंगे.
Really? You guys did that?
I'll tell you the story. So, but this was, I'm like, wow. So at 3:30 a.m., I'm like, Amazing. So, that's when I realized problems can be solved, Every problem can be solved. And you have to have that mentality. So, Bombay being Bombay, we called, people picked up our calls also 3:30, 4 a.m. They said, yes, ho jayega, we'll arrange.
Okay.
So, we did arrange, we just didn't use it. Because it stopped.
Because it didn't rain.
It didn't rain. I'm like, oh wow. So all that panic for nothing, but it was such a beautiful campaign. It's still, if you open our website, it's an old campaign, but it's in top 3 because it's so close to my heart. It gave us a big launch pad. It was for a company called StockGrow. I really liked that film. And after that, we just started doing so much work. This was that inflection point for Owl that. So yeah, this is a very special campaign that I remember, which caused so much panic. But after that, I've had a very I only look for team members also who don't just come like Ayushi and you are
Right.
don't come and nag. They're like, okay, there's a problem, but this is what we can maybe do about it. Okay, we won't get what we're supposed to get, but can we get an 8 on 10 result, if not a 10 on 10 result, right? And that shows that was such a big learning. Yeah, that campaign I really remember. What else? Nikhil, I've loved working on the podcast. We did this one very interesting Air India ka Christmas animated film.
Okay.
That was also really interesting. Saturday evening, I get a call and I was not doing anything that Saturday evening. My Saturday evenings are usually me going out for a movie. So I love watching movies. So that's my sort of every weekend break. And I got a call ki aisa, there's a pitch. I'm like, okay, I'm like, Wednesday, I'll send you the deck. They're like, no, I need it now.
Okay.
It's Saturday evening. And I'm like, I don't want to disturb the team. So, and बहुत time से मैंने creative thinking नहीं करी थी. I made the deck somehow in about an hour and I put in some ideas and I sent it. It got approved.
Okay.
And that's how we won the client.
Wow. In an hour on Saturday evening.
I mean, they replied on Monday, which
Agency life.
but they gave me a message ki this works, ho jayega. So
Great.
I recently put up a story. Client ka busy, agency ka busy,
I saw.
unresponsive.
That's how the industry works and functions. You have to work around it. Everything is kind of urgent.
Yeah, which is I'm telling you that is one thing which will just one day it won't work.
It won't work.
It won't
Yeah.
work.
So I think people will then take a stand that, listen, it's not that urgent. It can be done tomorrow.
Yeah, I went to the US. I was there for a month. They also do things in the same time.
Okay.
I met a lot of Indian founders as well. So we started working with a couple of US clients. When they say urgent, they really mean it.
Okay.
So, so then you can truly put your
Work around.
force. But then when it's not urgent, they're like, okay, it's not urgent. You tell me the timeline. So that way, when it's urgent, you truly go above and beyond. Now, every day I come to you, वो भेड़िया वाली story जो होती थी कि हर रोज बोल रहे हो भेड़िया आ गया
Then
हर रोज.
you're not taking it serious.
Then after a point, do you think anyone will take you seriously? No. हर चीज के आगे capitals में लो ASAP.
Yeah.
Oh man, that thing just gets to my nerves.
It also affects the team members. I feel like because they're panicking, they're like, oh, and then they're not doing their full potential on the project.
Correct. And the thing is, I was telling this to somebody else, I'm forgetting who I was talking to, but agency's culture is not what you said. Agency's culture is sadly what the client said. मैं कितना भी अच्छा कल्चर बना लूँ, अगर वो क्लाइंट तंग करेगा मेरे को फ्राइडे को आके, so your most responsible team member will be like, यार करना तो है.
Right.
Because responsible people have a problem.
They have to do.
They can't let go of a job. Like I'm somebody, if you give me something, I'm like, I will do it. I will not let you hanging. If you're a bad client, I will leave you after the job, but I will never let go.
Yeah.
We have a very, very simple rule, and I tell this to our cohort members as well in the freelance thing. कि यार मतलब don't be that freelancer who's like mid project, I can't do the job. Never. That's the worst. Unless of course there's an extreme scenario which we can't. But in most scenarios, but that can be very detrimental sometimes.
To the business.
Yeah, it's tricky.
But it takes time. When I speak to agency founders that are senior and are doing well, they get to a point where they can then make the rules because you've done it for so long. Like we had Tanaz Bhatia on the last episode. She runs Bottom Line Media, and she said over the years, it's like now I set the rules. For example, she doesn't give a pitch. She's like, no, you've seen my work, you've seen everything I have done. And so if you want to work with me, you work with me. And so she can set the rule now. So I feel like it'll take a few years for the business to get there, where eventually you'll be like, okay, I'm going to tell you how it's done because this is how it works.
I think that respect you win over time.
Yeah, with the clients also, with your team members and all also. So it just goes like that. But Ayush, I recently saw a reel of yours that called out fake internet gurus, and it stood out for me because I take such topics and I talk about it vocally, and I get a lot of backlash myself. But I still do it because I'm like, no, somebody has to speak about it. And why have I built the community if I'm not going to
Yeah.
speak about these things, right? So you spoke about like how people on the internet kind of just come in and be like, we make this much money, but then you don't know how they're making. And we then see only the lifestyle of that person and believe it.
Yeah.
But now you and me work in the industry, so we know who's scamming and we know who's saying the truth. How does the audience come to know about the same?
Oh wow, it's so hard. I think just question what you the answers in the question that you and what you said, right? Which is, what are they doing? What is their actual business? Ask this. The thing is, it's very obvious and easy to understand how somebody is making money. If it's not obvious and easy to understand, then there is something off. Matlab,
But some people don't talk about how they make the money. They only talk about they've made the money.
no, if that person is coming in and creating content, ask them. If they will dodge all the questions, that also is a red flag. If somebody is continuously dodging what they are doing, and the thing is, chalo, let's take the example of our industry, right? If a media entrepreneur is faking their lifestyle, it's the easiest to know because media, the work is so public.
Right.
Like today, for example, if you ask me, Ayush, how do you make money? I will just be like, Alina, ये मेरा Instagram page है यार, आप देखो मैंने तो कितनी फिल्म्स बनाई हैं, आपको पता है फिल्म कितनी महंगी होती है,
Right.
तो आपको पता है कि मैं इतना तो कमा ही लेता हूँ. I can prove it to you, right?
I can tell about you, but like what about us?
Exactly, right? So I think you need to really question people. और मुझे पता है अगर तुम्हारी एक बड़ी मीडिया कंपनी है ना, तुम्हारी एक डिसेंट ऑनलाइन प्रेजेंस तो होगी.
Yeah.
Like people talk about, I spoke about Iman Gandhi, right? Like that.
Yes.
Uh,
I used to follow him a lot. Like
I
I
did
follow
not,
what he
yeah.
does, but you don't know how he's doing what.
Great perception. He has built a great channel. Very good creator. But I couldn't see a business online. वो कहते ही मेरे इतने clients थे ये थे. But why does he not have an online persona? Why did he shut the agency? Right? You don't do these things. So most gurus sadly have made money by being a guru, not by actually doing the business, which is fine. But then don't tell me that, oh, I have done the business, so I will teach you. Tell me I will teach you business. Being a guru and saying I will teach you business is not a problem. Saying I have done it and I am so well at doing it, that is why I am teaching it, that is a problem. You know, I think media में तो बहुत easy है ना बताना.
Yeah.
आपका काम इतना पब्लिक है, आज कोई भी मीडिया कंपनी चला रहा है, अगर उसके पास काम ही नहीं है ऑनलाइन दिखाने को, like for example another this guy running a course on similar like freelancing only, right? Something that I do, short form content, but I couldn't. मैंने कहा वेबसाइट पे है क्यों 6 वीडियोस थी, मैंने कहा 6 वीडियोस तो मतलब हम Owl is producing close to 100 videos a month. I'm like, so this is like, I'm not comparing like the two companies, but I'm like, okay, but this guy seems to be like, doing on the perception side like 10x bigger. But so just question, research. It's not very difficult to know who's scamming you and who's not. The problem is हमारा reputation में भी like, because I teach and I love to teach, right? I started freelancing, मैंने free में पढ़ाना शुरू करा था, फिर I monetized it. People question us, क्या रे, who are you? What are you doing? And I feel मुझे लगता है अरे बाप रे, मतलब because of scammers who have scammed and come to the industry and scammed, if I am also trying to do something good,
You will be questioned.
we will also be questioned. So I'm like, चलो ठीक है, that's still better, but then question every single person. मतलब खरीदो ही मत कुछ भी, मतलब बिना सोचे समझे. See if they have done that thing in a legitimate way and over a long period of time. Because एक साल भी करना can be a stroke of luck. See if they have been able to do that thing consistently year on year. Are they truly selling to the kind of clients that you want to sell if they're selling that kind of service? So yeah.
But yeah, so many people fall for it. So many people think that, this perception is there that they're doing so well. Having said that, I have this question for you. is that you very publicly speak about how much you make, which is great, which is your opinion and your choice. I don't publicly do that. You know why? Because I feel like, if somebody's watching it, they'll just see the numbers. They'll be like, oh, like so many crores you can make and it's easy and all. But then they don't really understand the kind of work that has gone behind it. And so also, I don't want to set unrealistic expectations for somebody else because, see, at the end of the day, there are followers online that will be like, oh, like, why am I not being able to make it? So that's why I don't talk about it. How come you publicly talk about it? What is your thought behind it?
Yeah, I don't actually. I spoke about it 2 years ago once,
Okay.
and I regretted it ever since.
Really?
I don't think you should. And I didn't speak about how much I make. We spoke about how much the company is projecting, and
Okay.
so and that number, and I went to a podcast only, or
Yes, I saw the thumbnail. That's
and
why.
that guy just I mean, he's a good guy. I like him, but usne
But that's
ekdam-
what sells on YouTube.
So, but if you look at the podcast, I never speak about how much I make. It was just a projection of the company, and that's one regret that I have, and just my, but if you look at my Instagram, you will not see any vacations that I'm taking.
Yes.
You will not see any family, you will not see any friends, you will not know what car I drive, nothing. You will not see a corner in my house, unless that video specifically demanded. But the last 100 posts, I can bet that you won't see any of this. Lifestyles also, like if I'm taking a trip, only work trips show up on my Instagram. So actually, I'm the opposite. I think I was a bit naive about a couple of years ago, where even companies' projections I should not have spoken about out loud. But otherwise, when we speak about a company and we want to talk about the scale, that's just when we say, "Ki, we're a $1 million agency," which is a vague term. What is $1 million?
It could be revenue. It could
Correct.
be
So I keep it very vague.
Okay.
But I never speak about how much money I'm taking home or how much money I'm making.
I thought it's your way of inspiring other people that they can also do.
No, I don't think you should talk about money too much. As I said, right? Like that one thumbnail that you're talking about is the only that one thing जिसकी वजह से 4-5 PR आर्टिकल्स आ गए थे, जिसकी वजह से तो वो आप देखोगे तो वो 1-1.5 महीने का ही वो एक नॉइज है.
Right.
जो which was also on my LinkedIn. I removed from my LinkedIn also. You go to my LinkedIn, you can't find it.
Okay.
मैंने हटा ही दिया उसको. वो बरी कर दिया मैंने एकदम. तो yeah, it's something. In fact, I asked Ishan also, like, why thumbnail change कर दे यार.
I saw his and I saw his video with Kushal also, and they spoke about it and all. But you know how the media is. That's what gets
But,
most traction.
I mean, I understand why would you do it, but I don't think you should speak about it too much.
Okay.
It's yeah. I don't know why though. मुझे नहीं पता क्यों नहीं बोलना चाहिए, but मुझे it doesn't sit well with me.
Okay.
I think there was a phase which maybe I'm not very proud of that I just spoke about it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. But Ayush, I have one more. This again is something that I see from your journey, is that I think there's a lot of difference in work ethics and values because of where you come from. Do you see a difference between Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore people versus how your journey happened?
मुझे तो छोटे शहरों के लोग बहुत ही पसंद है.
Me too.
Because I come from a smaller city, तो मुझे तो ना need to prove था, तो that makes you work harder.
Yes.
बॉम्बे में बॉम्बे में भी होता है, बिकॉज बॉम्बे अगेन इज़ वेरी लार्ज है, दिल्ली इज़ वेरी लार्ज. ऐसा नहीं है कि दिल्ली इज़ जस्ट द फैंसीएस्ट दिल्ली एंड बॉम्बे इज़ जस्ट द फैंसीएस्ट बॉम्बे दैट यू सी. But I feel like people have a chip on their shoulder if they come from a smaller town. They just have a knack to. It'll change maybe, but at least 10 years ago when I came out, I had that chip on my shoulder. Ki yaar, shit, I'm maybe not as confident as, Alina or other folks who come from just bigger cities. So, yeah, I do think it matters. It will stop mattering in a few years, I feel, because now everyone has a phone.
Right.
So now to things are getting equalized.
Right.
Earlier things were not as equalized, right? मतलब मेरे स्कूल में तो मतलब कोई इंग्लिश में बात नहीं करता था, कंपास लेके लोग बेंच पे मार रहे होते थे, तो मतलब कुछ भी हो रहा है, राइट? मतलब क्या वो रैंडम चीज़ें हो रही हैं, मतलब सो ऐसे स्कूल में पढ़ा हूँ मैं तो वहाँ पे मतलब हाउ डू आई देन लर्न हाउ टू इंटरफेस विद पीपल. द वे आई लर्न हाउ टू स्पीक इंग्लिश इज just मैं YouTube videos देखता था, then I used to fake my accent while making my YouTube videos. So I'll show you maybe if we if you decide to treat me well, I'll show you the.
Of course, I would love to see. No, but no, that's what I'm saying is that what I see in people from smaller towns and smaller cities is that they have a lot of, they have to prove a lot more. And because they don't have the kind of access maybe that we have and the kind of background that we have, their ethics and values are stronger.
Oh, very strong.
Because they, like you don't sound like somebody that's a Gen Z. Like a Bombay Gen Z will talk in a very different way and have a very different perspective to life than you have. And I think that comes from our upbringing and from where we are also. So then I can tell the difference between the two kind of people. I think that's what keeps you grounded and makes you work so hard and reach here that you have.
It matters. I think your childhood defines a lot of how you are. I think my mother also played a very important role. So I think it's not just the town, but like she was very.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, because our family went through like a bunch of ups and downs, money wise. So they were very sure that my sister's a doctor, by the way,
Okay.
and I'm an engineer. So they were like, कि हाँ लड़की है तो नहीं, very stereotypical. Doctor बना दो इसको engineer बना दो.
And sorted.
हो गया उसके बाद लाइफ खत्म. They were so happy when I cracked IIT. I remember मतलब I was not very happy because at that time I realized it's a borrowed dream.
Okay.
You know, for most people IIT is a borrowed dream. It's not an original dream जो तुम्हें हाँ मैं तो मुझे crack करना है. तुम्हें बस सिखा दिया जाता है कि यही तुम्हें करना है. तो अब तुम इतना छोटे होते हो, यंग, तो ये हाँ यही होता होगा, तो चलो now I will work hard towards it. But I started media much before. I could have skipped engineering,
Okay.
but I didn't because
But lots of engineers have to drop out of engineering to become successful. I've noticed it.
I didn't drop out. Although sometimes I used to think that यार मुझे ना engineering नहीं करनी चाहिए थी 5 years. Even though I worked throughout my college life, what if I would have just not done engineering? But
Does it
the amount of fun you have in engineering, and the amount of bonds you make in that hostel, I think you become bulletproof.
Yeah.
तुम्हें कोई आप अभी फर्श सुला देगा तो कहेगा हाँ कुछ नहीं होता, मतलब plus Pilani such a even though I've come from a privileged family where we have never thought about food, the roof over our head, like these things were always covered, right? And that's what I always call privileged. But when I came to Pilani, like random harsh conditions, light नहीं अभी 12 घंटे चलो बैठे हो ठीक है मतलब, और you like in Pilani we used to live like the worst type of bachelors,
Okay. So that rough and tough actually helps in life and in
yeah,
business.
now you are like कि ठीक है अब तो
What is the worst that could happen? That kind of an attitude comes now when you lived with that.
correct.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have lived in much more difficult conditions, and this is still a more privileged side of us speaking.
Yes.
But still, I think that was like good enough for me to be like, कि हाँ चलो, this is good.
Right. Ayush, I have a personal question to you that I want to ask you. You are a young male single founder of you're running a sizable media company. I want to ask you that do you understand the difference between your female and male employees, and how cognizant are you of the fact that women work and deliver in a different way? What happens, I've seen a lot of senior men kind of understand, because by then they have, partners, female partners, they have daughters and all. So then they become more understanding of how we are different. We're equal, but I feel like we're different, obviously. And so, but younger founders, male founders, they don't understand.
Okay. So अगर मुझे नहीं पता होगा तो फिर तो मैं शायद
Do you understand that we work in a different way? We have different timings. We have different, phases. We have different moods. We have different capabilities than men do.
Yeah. I think you learn this over time, right? So I'm very close to my sister.
Okay.
So most of my life learnings are from her because I did not have many friends growing up. Like my friends, the first set of my close friends became, I found when I was in class 11th. So for a large part of my life, I had friends, but like I was not a very outgoing person, and that's why I had so much time at home to create videos, right? So the lonely gamer persona in a basement is very true. But anyway, I think I've learned over time. I don't think I knew from day zero that, as you said, right, that like a female coworker works differently than a male coworker. And over time, I've sort of understood it, and we have made changes in the process. For example, we never had period leaves at Out. We introduced last year. And that was when sort of Shubhangi, our art director, voiced it to me that, we need this. This is very, very integral. But what has just, Alina, helped me to navigate, and I don't know if this has happened naturally, is we are both of us are in a generation where we don't differentiate, right? Like for me, your skill is, I will not like pull you down just because.
Right.
So, हमारी तो most leadership is women. So, like we have more women leaders than male leaders in the company right now. Right?
Which is what I mean, is that we are equal in terms of opportunities, in terms of the work that we do, but we are different.
No, you're right. I'll just complete the thought, right? I'm telling you how I learned that. Now, because most women, like for example, the person who works the closest to me with me right now is Ruhi, who is our head of operations. Second person who works closest to me is a business team, which is Lakshay and Shreya. So 3 people who work and probably like other people who work closest to me are Weber and maybe one more person, right? So 4 or 5 people. तो 5 लोग में से 3 लोग तो लड़के हैं. So I get feedback very closely. So for me, the learning becomes more first hand. And it's very like sort of daily, right? So I feel कि because new workplace है, कोई भी ऐसा founder employee नहीं है, right? Everybody is a team member. It's very equal. So people voice out their opinion. If they don't like, let's say, a certain way that a certain thing that I've done, they're very like quick to voice things out. So that's what I like, which is कि यार, because leadership and people I work with directly are all like, mostly women. 60% क्योंकि women है, तो I get feedback quickly. So I don't think I had this realization on day zero. This realization has come over time. But मुझे तो, for me, honestly, if I were to go one step back from this question, I have not felt so much difference. I've just felt difference in different humans. मतलब वो तो मुझे लगता है कि how Laksha works in my team is very different from how Devang works, to very different from how Prerna works. But I can't compare Prerna and Laksha and put them in the same category just because they're women.
Of course.
They also work very differently. तो मुझे इतना ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं लगा. For me, the learnings have more to do with different policies that we need to have in our workplace, right? Like just to make sure that, like for example, as a small company, so many people are not aware of POSH. POSH तो आते हैं, तुम बड़ी कंपनी बन जाते हो तब करवाना होता है, right? और तो smaller things like these, right? Do you have access to sanitary products in your office? Like it's something which is so basic, हमें नहीं पता होता. जब तुम नया कोई कंपनी शुरू कर रहे हो, एक ही वॉशरूम है छोटा सा, तुम्हारा इतना सा ऑफिस है बॉम्बे बैंगलोर में, नहीं पता होती तुम्हें चीज़ें. तो मुझे लगता है कि ये सब जो चीज़ें होती हैं ये ऑब्वियस होती हैं, एंड यू कैन ओनली ट्रूली एक्ट ऑन देम व्हेन यू हैव women around you who are very vocal. Because a lot of people are not vocal, right? Like, so if you have people who are vocal at a senior position, I think then you're good to go, right? And I'm younger than most people in my company now. So most of my leadership team is 80% of them are elder to me, right? So they're also just very like, anything non-work, they're very, very chill with me. But I've built a good bond. So today I know if something happens in the company which is not very women workforce friendly, I'm going to receive a call within 10 seconds from Rui or any of these folks. This needs to change. And
I'm very glad that you have an open working environment and an open culture, because that's the only way that the males will understand probably that, this is something that they could do to work around us.
Correct.
And I think it's important.
My sister tells me this very often. She's like, everybody is sexist. Even somebody who's very young is sexist, just that the level of sexism differs. He's like a 50-year-old is maybe very, very sexist. You may be much lesser, right? Or your generation may be much lesser, which means that you have to constantly learn to not be that person. So all of us are unlearning. I think all the men are unlearning. and we'll make mistakes. It's just that if you have women around you who are vocal, like, and I've had partners over the last many years, right? So they've also taught me so much. So yeah, that's my learning. You just keep them close and
Yeah.
make sure they are vocal.
I'm glad, and I had to ask you as a young founder this question. I'm glad I did though. But
Interesting. But I have a question.
yes.
Why is it a problem more with young founders? I think young founders are in fact more open to
they are open,
change.
but they are not aware.
The
They don't know
education-
only that okay, washroom needs to be a certain way. Everybody cannot go in the same washroom. Or for example, you need like sanitary products, or you need a period leave. Or for example, today is a bad day. No campaign idea is going to come, just by virtue of what day it is for us.
Yeah.
Men don't know only. That's why seniors
Education, right?
education. And so that's why if you're running and you're employing so many women, I feel like you should know. And male founders should know.
Yeah.
It's important.
It boils down to education. I think education can only happen once if people can speak to you freely.
Like I asked you this question very openly.
Correct. No, you should.
Ayush, we've spoken a lot and I'm glad that we did. I don't know how I'm going to chop this into like a smaller section because everything you've said is so important. But the last thing I want to ask you, again, as somebody running a media company, is that there are lots of people that would like to do what you're doing. What would your advice be to them starting out?
Don't do what we are doing. If you do what Owl is doing or what somebody else is doing, then you will compete with us.
Okay.
Why do you want to compete with a company that's already putting in so much effort, right? If I were to start Owl again, right, like now, I wouldn't start with video.
Okay.
Video, although was growing, was not new. And I ended up competing with the big companies.
Right.
And it was a tough fight. Every day is a fight, even today. Because people, and we were very blessed because on day one, we were being compared with the biggest of the companies because our first video that we delivered, people really liked it and it went like viral on Twitter and whatnot. But if I were to start again, I would not do it.
Okay.
So if you're somebody who wants to start in media, please don't look at a large company and be like, I want to become that. No, media now is changing faster than it used to change 10 years ago. Can you look at innovations within this category? Like for example, if I were to start Owl in 2020, I would have started something which is very deep in influencer marketing, very, very deep in creator economy. Even now, creator economy is on the rise, right? Like figure something here. Don't
right.
make videos. Why do you want to make ad films? So many people make ad films. Why do you want to do a podcast? So many people are already doing podcasts, right? Try to find something which creator economy, everybody is becoming a creator. Like the reason we started Lit School, I don't know if you know, but in the school we teach people how to become a creator. This economy is growing like really, really fast, right? So try to pick pockets in this industry, which a large agency like will take a long time to adapt.
For example, if it was me, I would do something related to AI if I did today.
Yeah. For example, today, I think even AR has a very big scope. Like Owl does a lot of AR, and for us also, it's a very important division. But things in augmented reality will only grow, right? Like with Vision Pro coming in and so many other things. But try to find a pocket which is more unique.
Okay.
It's just that people don't have the patience because when you're in a unique pocket, it takes time to make money. So yeah, that's a trap of an agency. It's you open a laptop, start an Excel sheet, I have an agency owner. Yes, I sent the proposal.
It's really not that easy.
Yeah, barrier to entry is very small. That's why I like this business as well because if you're somebody who doesn't have money to start, which I did not, so many other people did not, initial capital na bhi ho to bhi shuru kar sakte.
Right.
But at the same time, any business which is easy to start has low barriers to entry, which means the competition in the market is very, very, very high. So yeah, just try to find a unique spot, yaar. Don't do what we are doing. Don't do what other people are doing.
Right.
देखो कि कौन सी कंपनीज लाइक अभी भी मुझे बहुत कम अच्छी पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग एजेंसीज दिखती हैं. नहीं है अच्छी, मतलब बहुत कम है. मतलब people who truly do deep research and can write like a founder writes, right?
That's a great idea for somebody who wants to start.
If we sit down, so many open spots in the ecosystem, but no, ad film बनाना है क्योंकि वो fancy दिखता है. मैं भी ये कर रहा था.
Social media karna hai because that's fancy.
Yeah, so try to find unique spots.
I think that's a great advice, and you have a lot of experience to back it up also because you did the same. So
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think there's so much value packed in the episode that you have done for us today. I'm so grateful that you could come here. Thank you so much for doing this.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time. I hope
I'm
you
glad.
got what you want.
Everything. I asked you everything I wanted, unhinged.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much for watching another episode. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you have any questions also for us, see you in the next episode.